So here's my challenge. My wife wants a bench in this area, but it's going to be totally made with scrap woods. But all I have is this table and this pile of scrap lumber. And my wife's pretty picky. So let's see what I can do with it. So what I decided to do is take that table and I ripped it into equal size boards. So I have two of the same size boards, the same length and same diameter, for a total of 10 boards, and I have an extra one over there that I'm probably not going to use all these. And I'm going to sand them and rough up the edges to make it look a little bit more unique, and you'll see it when I'm finished what I'm talking about. So the other day I was up at my friend's shop in Des Moines, and he was doing some remodeling, and he decided to take out a bunch of 2x4s and 2x6s and 2x8s, and he was throwing it away, and I asked if I could bring it home. Because I like to, try and salvage as much lumber as I can when I'm doing stuff like this. So while the boards don't look new and they're not matched, they're going to be behind the finished product. Nobody will ever see it, and it's a good way to just repurpose woods. And so what I did is I ripped them down into 2.5 by 2, and just make an inexpensive little frame here for the bench that she wants there. I also did the same thing with these little boards that's going to go along the inside of that front of the bench. I just ripped them all down so they were the same diameter and width as the top and bottom boards here to help give me more support for the bench going across. So I have the front of the bench assembled, the front support. For the back, I'm just going to attach a 2x4 to the studs in the wall, and then we'll start assembling the top and the sides and work towards our finished product. So now I've taken all that scrap lumber, made a frame and a box to put the outside covering and the top of the bench on. It's pretty sturdy. So the next thing I'm going to do is go prepare the boards for the top. Okay, so here's what I'm doing with those boards that I ripped from the table. If you look, it's a solid oak piece. I'm taking one side of it, and you can see how the edges are nice and clean, fresh cuts, smooth. Almost looks like it's just dimensional lumber you buy from the store, except it's got this finish on it. If you come over here, I'm taking a cylinder sander, and I'm just roughing it all up. So first of all, the paint will stick to it. I know I don't want to paint oak, but that's what my wife wants to do, so she tends to get her way. But what I'm also doing is I'm rounding these corners, and I'm making it almost look like it has a scraped finish to it, so it's more primitive looking, so it doesn't look manufactured from the store, because it's really not. But you can also do this with new lumber to make it look older and more rusty. And that's what I'm doing with this piece. And this is what the whole top of the bench is going to be made out of. So this is that same piece. It's completely finished, cut to the right size. Edges are all sanded. Corners has the look I'm looking for. We just got to install it now, and we're trying to decide if I want my wife to paint it before I install it or after. Sometimes I do it both ways. It just depends on how much space is going to be between, because you don't want to be able to look down and see that it's not completely finished. A lot of times I like to paint it before we put it on, but I'm going to see how it fits together, and I'll let you know later in the video what I did. Okay, so I ran into a little bit of a challenge. My wife decided she wanted the bench a little deeper than I originally planned, so when I made the measurements on the table, I was using the old depth, and I had just enough to do it right. Well, when she changed, when she wanted it a little deeper than what I was originally going to make it, I ran out of wood. So one of the things I decided to do is to take these side pieces that was the trim around the side of the table and try and use them. But the problem is if you look here, there's a thickness difference as well. So what I had to do is I had to rip, because this is the original, this is a piece that I cut from the original top. I had to rip the board and take this decorative piece off so I could get back to just a plain piece of oak. And then I had to take it and rip the thickness so it matches up. So I ripped it along this side, and that's how I solved that problem. As I'm sitting here sanding this last piece of wood for the top, I just wanted to show, because I know my wife will watch this video, that while making her bench, it drew blood. So I can honestly say that I made this with hard work, sweat, and blood, just for her. So here's the top put on, and as you can see, what I was talking about, how the boards look very primitive and rustic, much different than what it looked like when I first started, as you've seen in the video. Those boards right down the center are the pieces that were the trim of the table, and I cut them down and ripped them and made them part of the top because I was short on wood. So I'm gonna put wainscoting. I have some scrap wainscoting laying around. I'm gonna put wainscoting around the bottom, put some trim on it that I have in the garage in that pile that I showed you, and then I think on the end I'm gonna do like a barn door look where it has wainscoting and then trim on a little trim on the bottom, a little on the top, and the X going through it, or a slash. I'll show you when it's done. So what we decided to do for the top is put a satin polyurethane finish over it, just to protect the oak and protect the look. So because we still have 4 kids at home, and we have 3 grandkids now, and it's going to be, it's active. We're an active family, and they're running in and out all the time, and this is right by our back door area where we store our coats. So that way if the kids come in and sit on it or something, they're not going to stain the top of it. It's protected. And then my wife, Shawnee, painted the base of it a gray, and it's actually going to match the walls. We're redoing this whole room, and it's going to match the walls, so it'll be a highlight point for the room. It's a small room that used to be, we had our wood burner in here. We moved that outside, and so she's going to make this a little craft room, and it's also an area where we store our coats by the back door. So the plan is for each of the kids to have their own tub there. Those are 13 by 13 by 13 squared, and they can put their hats and gloves and other items in there to for each of them to store. We have 4 kids at home still. 2 of them are out of the house, so this is it for tonight. We're actually going to be making a desk soon. I believe we're going to use a barn board and make sawhorse legs for it. So when we do that, we'll put pictures of that in this entire room as we work on it.